Yes, I'm Nerissa, so I'm a site manager for Fletcher Living. And yeah, my role is just to pretty much organise contractors and oversee the build in the simplest sense. But yeah, there's a lot of sub-roles within that, and I think naturally I have tried to take the role of being a mental health ambassador within our company. So yeah, super excited to have a chat about that today. The people, as corny as that sounds, I think it's just we get to work with all sorts of people at every level, and all of them just come from their own specialised skills. So we've all got, you know, like different trades that people have been in with like for 10 years, and they're all specialists in their own way. So we've got so much to learn, and learning every single day in construction. Yeah, I came into it not knowing a single thing, and pretty much learned everything on the job, and I think that's going to be a forever journey. I think everyone that's been in a trade their whole life has pretty much said the same thing, they're learning every day. Yeah, I think, like, without having too much of a pity party, like being a woman in construction is obviously comes with its own challenges. Without being directly undermined, like there is a sort of lingering pressure to prove your worth, and yeah, I definitely, like being quite fresh and young in the industry, have had that, like, I guess my position challenged a lot, and so I could go into a meeting with so many people the same level as me, but I'll come super prepared and spend a lot of time, like, yeah, preparing for a meeting just to prove that I belong in that at that table. Yeah, I think the first time I felt like I really made a breakthrough with my mental health in terms of work was the beginning of this year. So most of my life I have kind of been in and out of depression for various issues, but you know, dealt with it in my own way by seeing a counsellor, and yeah, I realised that I was coming to work not fully myself, and I care about my role and I give it 100% all the time, but sometimes when, you know, life throws you curveballs and you can't really handle things the way you normally would, we try to just operate at 100%, and yeah, my 100% looked like 60 at that time. So I made the decision to kind of let my boss know about how I was struggling. Yeah, I suffer from depression, anxiety, and I had that confirmed by a doctor in January this year, and so yeah, I just had to kind of be open and honest with my boss and explain what that looks like, because there are days where I could handle things and I'd put 200% effort in, and other days where it would look more like 10, and I think he really respected that. It takes a lot of strength to tell people when you're down, and I think there's so much work being done, like in the industry, especially in our company, but going through that personally, I don't think you're out there looking for all the resources when you're in that place. When I was like at the worst of my depression, I think I did the opposite. I hid away from the world, and just, yeah, tried to limit my interactions. And so when people say get help, talk to people, it's not that simple. You kind of feel like a nuisance and you don't want to, you know, bother people. So I think stuff like this, like us opening up and being vulnerable, is probably the most effective way to help people that are suffering, because it wasn't until I opened up to my boss that I realised, you know, like he's got things he's struggling with. It went as far as opening up to HR, and now we're the mental health ambassadors group within Fletcher's. And I think the idea of that is basically just to have people on the ground that have eyes and ears to understand and see those keys, and we go through training and try to look out for people that might be struggling. So yeah, I think there's some really cool work being done in the industry and across larger companies, but I think the biggest impact is being open and being vulnerable and sharing your stories, so that we know that, you know, we're all sort of in the same game and trying our best. And yeah, if we know our neighbours, you know, human, then we can kind of give each other a bit more love and kindness and all get along. I definitely am an outdoors baby, so hiking, surfing, walking, all those things are what really grounds me and sort of like refreshes me for the week. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the biggest piece of advice, which is something I've only recently learned, is just being your own bodyguard and knowing what you can take on and what you can't. Like, I'm a recovering people pleaser, so I basically like try to spread myself across everything. And so yeah, I'm trying to kind of create some healthy boundaries and know, you know, like turn the phone off when you get home. Don't reply to work emails all night, within reason. And yeah, just try and have that healthy balance and protect your peace by only taking on what you can. Like, you can't fill from an empty cup, so knowing what fills your cup, like you asked, like surfing for me. For some people it's sleeping, reading a book, catching up with a friend, like just knowing what your vices are and making sure you make time for that, because I think we all kind of get trapped in this hustle and grind mentality, and it's work, it's gym, it's, you know, keeping as busy as possible, achieving as much as you can, but it's just so much pressure. And I think we all forget that, you know, we really just need to strip it all back and take time to heal and yeah, just be happy. I think just be as open as possible. A lot of people are afraid because we're from New Zealand and we're just, you know, sort of inbuilt to have this like soldier on, carry through it mentality, and you know, that's kind of what we've all grown up with. So we're afraid if we, you know, tell people that we're struggling, that will be looked down upon as like, I don't know, lazy or something, or you're having a pity party. But I think you'll actually find that vulnerability is strength and people admire it. And the more people I've opened up to, the more deeper things, like the deeper our relationship becomes. I find out so much about my contractors when I share with them if I'm not feeling great. And yeah, I just think that unity is strength. Like, if you have those relationships with the people you work with and you understand each other to the core, then we're not just these robots that come and produce an outcome at work. We're actually, you know, living and making meaningful work and life.
Thank you very much, Nerissa.
You're welcome.